Welcome to the FanDuel Punch Out. I'm Jason Gilbo, J Gilbo 11. With me is Russell Clay at Russell J Clay. Taking a look at tonight's Thursday slate, and we just got done with the DraftKings one, and it's a little easier here on FanDuel, I think, with the pricing to kind of work Kershaw and some quality bats into a lineup tonight.
Yeah, I think this is a much more intriguing slate than sort of the DraftKings one. If I were investing, I would probably be investing a little more in FanDuel and such tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one, you just plug in one pitcher, it's Kershaw, you're fine. But also there's some notable bats that we'll talk about that are at a really decent price tag and much lower than what they were over on DraftKings.
Right.
So looking at catcher tonight, and Brian McCann, I mean, out of those kind of top tier options there, in the best spot for me at Yankee Stadium, going up against Ian Kennedy, who's struggled against lefties over the last few seasons, and in that ballpark, certainly in play with his big power.
Yeah, definitely in play. I like the price, and I think with the way he's playing right now, I think this is everything pointing towards him as a good value.
Yeah, definitely. And another one here, Victor Martinez. He's a guy who we glossed over on DraftKings just because he's just a first baseman, but catcher here in Camden Yards, very playable against Ubaldo Jimenez. Martinez is hitting well this year. Camden Yards friendly to lefties. So once again, I think at 3K in this game, big high total. This is really where we're looking for a lot of offense tonight. He certainly fits into any sort of lineup you're building.
Definitely. Yeah. And Lucroy at 2,900, I think is another awesome, interesting play compared to what he is on DraftKings. It's just a totally different situation. So yeah, I love that play there.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, going lower, I mean, Matt Wieters 2,300 in this matchup against Pelfrey there. Pelfrey 371 WOBA allowed to lefty since 2014. Wieters in a great spot, hitting sixth. I like him a lot just because you're paying down, you're still getting a piece of that game.
Definitely.
So first base, and once again here, things are a little bit easier to fit Chris Davis into a lineup who we like a lot tonight. We just mentioned Pelfrey struggles with lefties. 4,100, not that shabby.
Yeah, and I mean it's not cheap by any means, but it certainly makes him interesting at his price, and it isn't necessarily an overpay as a standalone value. So obviously you like the Baltimore stack tonight, but I think you can throw him in there just in terms of lineup construction in general.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Davis monster power numbers, 286 ISO since 2014. And I think you're kind of looking at this Red Sox team that has been really solid. I think because Davis is priced right around there, because Hosmer is, it kind of takes guys like Hamley and Ortiz off the map tonight for me. I mean, hell, the way that they've been swinging the bats, I can definitely see a Red Sox stack rolling out again. And certainly be a part of it.
And then you have Chris Carter at 3,200 as well. So, yeah, I kind of agree here. Tough to fit those in, and even Brandon Moss at 2,900. So, yeah, there's some good value at first base tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I like the Moss call. He's a guy we both really like tonight. And kind of just once again fits into those lineups. If you're playing Kershaw, you can kind of just roll 29 to 3K or 3K, that whole range down, and he fits right in.
Right.
And Hosmer, like him a lot tonight in Yankee Stadium. Same reasons why I like a lot of the guys in Yankee Stadium is because that short porch out there. But Eovaldi, I mean, has struggled with lefties since 2014, 343 WOBA allowed. And Hosmer just kind of that great cash game guy.
Right.
So anyone else you're looking at down low?
Well, I mentioned Marwin on the DraftKings one. He's 2,100. So if you're looking at a Houston stack, it might be a cheap way to finish it off. But other than that, not really. I think you're looking at that 3K range as really solid values.
Yeah, definitely. Second base here, Altuve, Kinzer once again top the charts. Altuve 4,500 is still very expensive. You and I kind of we're splitting hairs on this one. I like him a little bit more in GPPs. I think he's a great swerve tonight just because he hammers lefties. But he also is going up against David Price. So there are some negatives to it. But Price hasn't been that great this year. So I think Altuve kind of fits into a possible Houston stack tonight.
Yeah, and when you sort of take ownership percentage into account, this might be one of the very few nights where he's right around 10% in a tournament, maybe even slightly less. So anytime you can get someone like that at that ownership, I think they're always kind of in play, you know.
Yeah, definitely. What about Pedroia 3,900? I mean, he's absolutely crushing. Are
Yeah.
you leaning towards Altuve, or you think Pedroia is a decent option?
I do like Pedroia a little more tonight with the price considered, but not by a lot, like not by a crazy amount. But I think I'd just prefer him,
Hmm.
personally.
Full tournament plays at that price tag.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Going down the list, I think Chase Utley kind of fits in as once again that 3K range going up against Cologne. I definitely don't mind him here at this price tag, hitting lead off here. Um, I mean, overall, I mean, Cologne, yes, he's been good, but obviously average against lefties. I mean, Utley, 394 wall off right-handed pitching this season, 153 ISO. So, I mean, those are solid numbers for me. And I think as a cash game play, you're looking at Utley.
yeah. I'm with you. I think he's the cash game play if we ever had one. So, obviously we like Cologne, but on a slate like this, I think you're looking at maybe not to target him, but there are some good values against him tonight.
Yeah, definitely. And one guy we talked about as well is Cesar Hernandez, 2,500. If you're looking to punt, I mean, a guy who's going to probably hit second in the lineup again against a guy who doesn't miss a ton of bats. Once again, he's not going to light the world on fire, maybe grab a hit, maybe grab a walk or a run or two. And that's about it for him. But that's all you kind of need at that price tag. And he's really
Mhm.
just there for salary relief, which you might need tonight.
Right. Yeah, and I don't really see much beyond that. I think your better bet is to sort of pay up at different positions tonight.
Yeah. And one guy you liked is Starlin Castro, 3K.
Yeah, 3K. Yeah, that's a solid value.
Yeah. Third base, Manny Machado. He's a guy who I'll be looking at line, getting into my laps tonight. Absolutely in love with him here in this spot against Pelfrey. 4,300, not that shabby. I think he's an easy play over guys like Matt Carpenter, who's priced just 300 below him. I'm actually kind of
Yeah.
surprised Machado's that cheap right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say Carpenter is a decent play in his own right, but it doesn't really compare to what Machado is. And for only 300 more, I think you're swerving onto Machado pretty much every time you're making that decision.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to be different, Carpenter would obviously be the play, and I don't hate the matchup for Carpenter.
Right, but
Yeah, I know. But Machado, Machado's
yeah,
like that. Machado's the Legos of the toy world, and like Matt Carpenter's like building blocks right now, mega
yeah,
blocks or whatever those things are.
exactly.
Like.
Like decent floor, but you're not really getting the pieces like the cool setups and all that. You're not getting
Yeah,
any of that
yeah.
with Matt
But do
Carpenter.
they have the Indiana Jones box set? No, Carpenter doesn't. uh, One guy who I think is a bit overpriced here on FanDuel is Maikel Franco, 3,500. Um, he's in a decent spot against a guy who doesn't miss a ton of bats. I mean, just a GPP play for me. Not enough points per dollar kind of value. I think there are better options down low if you are paying down.
Hmm. Definitely. Yeah, I don't like that price at all. I don't really understand it. I do get he's batting high in the order now, but other than that, he hasn't been too strong. So
I think,
decent play, but at that price, probably not in consideration.
yeah, and like Nick Castellanos at 3K. I mean,
Yeah.
the way he's been hitting the ball, you would expect him to be priced that way. Um,
Exactly.
I mean, obviously his numbers are going to come down, but so far this season, 495 WOBA, but 264 ISO against
Hmm.
right-handers, and I mean since 2014, Jimenez just a 322 WOBA to left or to righty. So I love Castellanos tonight. That price tag, I think if I'm fading Machado, it's going to be for him.
Right. Aaron Hill, 2,100. I think that's a pretty decent bargain.
Yep, definitely against home run prone James Shields. He's certainly in play.
Hmm.
And if you need some, obviously Kershaw's going to make you maybe punt a little bit, and Hill's kind of got that name there.
Yep.
So, looking over at shortstop, and once again, Bogarts facing a lefty at home. I certainly just think he remains the top play until he cools off, if that ever happens.
Yep. I'm with you. Pretty
Um,
simple.
yeah, I mean, one guy I like is Jonathan Villar, and we were kind of looking at him on DK, but we just didn't like the price tag. Here we do because you have Seager, who's priced up top, way more expensive. But Villar, I mean, hitting well from the left side so far this season. Shields not that great against lefties. You got like Miller Park for a guy like Villar who's hitting at the top of the lineup.
Definitely.
So anyone else you like here at shortstop down low?
I kind of like some of the values of the higher priced guys, but not especially. Do you see anyone?
I mean, I'll see this Escobar 2,200. Probably the only name I'll toss out there just for a leadoff guy hitting in Yankee Stadium. But Eovaldi a bit tough run right-hander, so he's not tremendously appealing, but I still think it's a punt play worth a look.
That's fair.
Looking at outfielders tonight and running through the list, I'm having a tough time deciding on Trout and Ryan Braun here. The way Shields has pitched this season has been very home run prone, especially to right-handers. And Braun's just absolutely been crushing. He might be a guy who I think, in consideration with Miller Park, Braun's kind of your top-priced outfield option.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think with price considered, he's definitely the top guy.
But then you got Trumbo sitting at 3,900, who's absolutely cruising against righties as well. Once again, this Baltimore team, very playable tonight. But the one name that stands out for pricing is definitely Adam Jones.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I mean, 2,600, definitely a steal there. Since 2014, 181 ISO against righties, coming off a strong 2 games there in Minnesota. So looking to bounce back, and he should very much so against Pelfrey.
Yeah, Holiday, Grichuk, I think those are pretty solid values as well.
Yeah, definitely. Those Cardinals bats we like a lot. Piscotty being the third. I mean, the Cardinals are kind of an interesting stack option you can pair with Kershaw tonight and feel pretty good about it.
Definitely.
So, one guy we mentioned on the other one, and he carries another pump price here is 2,100. Chris Young going up against a lefty. I mean, 2,100. You can do a stars and scrubs with Kershaw if you wanted to. I mean, just guys like Aaron Hill and Young there. Young's been very solid against left-handed pitching, and the way Keuchel's looked, I'm not too intimidated.
Right, I like that call.
So, anyone else you like down low?
No, that's pretty much who I'm looking at.
Yeah, just those Cardinals bats. So, yeah. That's going to wrap things up here with the FanDuel Punch-Out. Be sure to check out DaveFantasyCafe.com for all our great tools and content.